ask a couple of people to say a few words, and we're not going to go through the whole table, because the last time we had a press conference, it lasted for 3 hours. And some people said he closed his eyes. Look, it got pretty boring. In all fairness, I love these people. But there's a lot of people. It was a little bit on the boring side. But I didn't sleep. I just closed them because I wanted to get the hell out of here. Some of them, I didn't sleep, by the way. I don't sleep much, let me tell you. But you know, it's funny. Some of them got me in a blink. You know, when you go like, and they took me as at the closed segment of my cycle. And they said he's sleeping. And besides that, Marco, between these two guys, if I was sleeping, they'd be waking me up very fast. They'd be knocking me. Come on, you got to wake up, boss. But no, we've had great meetings. Look, we're the most transparent presidency by far, and I love going around the room. But we're going to pick a few people larger than what they had before. And I'd like to have you take it over.
Mr. President, your great Secretary of State was looking for another job. So.
I was thinking about him, but he's pretty well booked. I watched him. He did a great job yesterday, but he's a little booked up. Let's go, Lee. Talk. No more ideas like that.
When President Trump came into office, he immediately signed an executive order giving EPA 30 days to complete our Phase 1 hazardous material removal, so that the Army Corps can come in and complete their Phase 2 debris removal.
So there's going to be no financing for low-income housing. Let the people build their houses, and as fast as you can, help them, help the mayor and help the governor get their permitting done. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Kelly, you know, I think you were just alluded to. Are you helping some of the people out there with loans?
Yes, Mr. President, thanks to your leadership, you also helped put the fires out. Your executive order got water to the scene in your earliest days of your presidency. So you've been there from day one. We've been out there twice now. There had been no changes until your executive order this week that is allowing that permitting to happen quickly. We have 16,000 structures burned. We have put loans out on 12,000 of them for $3.2 billion, more than half of all the disaster money delivered in America. War on Main Street and hardworking families. We've seen it as I've gone across the country this month, 10 different states, and we saw it when we were together in Iowa. Hardworking families, farmers, small businesses expressing gratitude, lined up to thank you. I was out with our great Vice President last week in Toledo, Ohio. They are thanking this administration for getting Main Street back. The Trump tax cuts, the tariffs, deregulation, it's all rocket fuel for hardworking families in Main Streets. And I see it whether it's talking about small business expensing, 100% accelerated from Made in America factories, the 20% pass-through, but it's also working families where they have expanded child tax credits, increased standard deductions, permanent low-income tax rates, health savings accounts, Trump accounts. This president is delivering for Main Street. It's the most underreported story in this country, and like none we've ever seen before. We are going to have 7% GDP growth. GDP now is probably underestimating where it is in 4Q, but with interest rates going down, with regulation going down, these are all taxes on small businesses, and those are going away. And thanks to President Trump, your leadership, we are seeing Main Street boom. Hardworking families have $1,000 already in their pockets, and when they get their $1,000 refund tax, I hope they all remember that every Democrat voted against them getting their tax refunds, because this is what our administration is doing, is powering your incredible economic agenda forward on Main Street.
Thank you very much. Great job. I do want to say that on my left, I have a man who's doing a fantastic job, and on my right also, but I should mention it. Could I ask Scott Bessett, we have so many things happening, could I ask you to maybe say a few words, please?
Yes, sir. So the one big beautiful bill that was passed on July 4th last year, we're starting to see the effects kick in. You mentioned the great economy. One of the things in the one big beautiful bill, Mr. President, it was an honor to host you, and as you said, the best rapper in the world, Nicki Minaj, at yesterday's Trump Accounts Summit. We've now had 1 million people sign up for Trump accounts just this week. We think there'll be 25 million families who are eligible. The segment that you and she did has 1 billion hits, 1 billion hits on the internet. So we're telling everyone, go fill out form 4547, trumpaccount.gov. So thanks to you, the Trump accounts, the next generation's America will benefit from today's record-breaking economy, record-breaking hits. Sir, when we came in, the Biden administration had destroyed the American people with the 3 I's: immigration, inflation, and interest rates. Immigration, check, you close the border. The inflation, as we've heard, back down to target. Prices are coming down. And interest rates, we hope there's more on the way. We've got gains in wages, low prices, and I think 2026 is going to be the year for the Trump boom. It's a supply side boom. I enjoyed the trip out to Iowa. In the diner, the staff there was thanking you for the no tax on tips, and they're expecting big refunds from that. We saw the CEO of John Deere, who said, thanks to your tariffs, new plants in Indiana, Carolina,
two massive plants being built by John Deere. And he's the chairman and CEO, wonderful guy. And I said he was at the event we had in Iowa, which is appropriate, John Deere, Iowa. But I said to him, so what are you doing? He said, we just announced 2 massive plants. In fact, they're going to have 1 plant for excavators. And he said, there hasn't been an excavator built in this country in years or something. He said, they're taking it out of Japan and they're moving it into the United States. 2 very big plants. And I said, so why are you doing it? He said, because of you and because of tariffs. And by the way, tariffs did it again because the drug company said, we'll do it begrudgingly, but they were okay. But we'll do it, but no nation's going to approve it because even if you raise the price by, like on a pill, $10 to $20, you're doubling the price of their prescription drugs. I said, no, they'll do it. And when I got them on the phone, I said, if you don't do it, we're going to charge you very substantial tariffs, more money than that's going to cost you. And they said, we'll do it. And before, I don't know that any other president even tried to do it. We can't find it. But if they did try, they wouldn't have gotten through the companies. They wouldn't have gotten through the company, and then they wouldn't have gotten through the country. I spoke with Macron. He was the first one. He was not at that time wearing sunglasses. And he said, no, Donald, I will not do this. I will not. I won't even consider, you're asking me to double the price. I said, you have no choice. You have to do it because you guys have been ripping us off. In other words, the whole world, we've been subsidizing the whole world on drug costs. That's why they were $10 and we'd be at 130. As an example, there were many examples. I could give you examples even worse. He said, no, I will not do that. And I said, yes, you will, 100% you'll do it. He said, no, I won't do that, Donald. You're asking me to double the cost of our prescription. We will not do that. I said, look, you've been ripping us off now for decades. We're not going to do it anymore. You can do it under Biden and Obama and other people. You're not going to do it under us. We won't do it. I said, well, if you don't do it, I'm going to charge you a 25% tariff on all of your wine, champagne, and everything else you sell into the United States. He said, like I said, I will do it. And that was the end of the conversation, right? That was the end of the conversation. So now we have favored nations that everybody said would be impossible to get. And I then had the same conversation with 15 other countries. Every one of them agreed. After a short conference, they all said no. And then within a matter of seconds, they said, we would be very happy to do that. Thank you for asking in such a nice way. And it's a great achievement. I think it's going to be one of the best achievements we've had in this country in a long time. So we're going to be knocking drug prices down at levels never seen before. I want to thank the drug companies because once they agreed, they really did. They felt it was very unfair. One of them told me it's actually a relief to agree because this has been just a rough thing for me, to justify. Because they couldn't justify it. I said, how come in London I can buy something for $10 and in New York I have to pay $130? And they go, well, it's research and development. I said, yeah, but you have research and development from them. Made in the same factory, made in everything. This is where my friend, who's very successful, I told you, a seriously overweight person, he takes the fat pill or the fat shot. and he was in London, and he said, cost $87 there, cost $1,300 in New York. What's going on? He called me up. And, I mean, I knew that, but he put it in a very blunt way. I've known him a long time. He's a crude individual, but smart as hell, made a lot of money. But he just thought it was sort of ridiculous. He happened to be in London, and he got the shot, Ozempic, I think, or one of them. And I told him it wasn't working. For him, it didn't work. And he brought up a good point. It didn't work. I told him, he knows who I'm talking about. He's going crazy. He begs me not to mention.
He's not talking about me, ladies.
No, it's not our great vice president. No, but he begs me not to mention his name because he's become very famous without mentioning his name. And he is actually a very well-known business person. But he did make a point. But I knew the point very well. We were always paying far more than any other nation. We were subsidizing the world. Right now, there's no more of that. So we're going to be bringing the drug prices down at numbers never. I think I would like to ask Steve if he could just give us a brief description of how well we're doing in the Middle East, because we have peace in the Middle East now. There's a couple of little minor flames that we put out very easily. And very importantly, we got our last hostage back, which is incredible. Unfortunately, this was... something that nobody said could be done. And I will tell you, Hamas was a big factor in getting all of the hostages back. We were not happy with them, and they had to bring them back, and they found the dead hostages, the bodies of hostages. And those parents wanted their sons back, I think in all cases sons. But they wanted their sons and their family. They wanted their sons back as much as the people that had living hostages that we got them back to. So we got the 20, but remember, we got hundreds back previous to that. We got them back, and we got all of the bodies back also, which to those parents was just as important as getting back the son that was living. Steve, could you give us a little description, please?
Well, your policy of peace through strength, that's what delivered them home. Without that pressure, it never happens. We are in the second phase now. We've stood up for the first time, Mr. President, on your behalf, a technocratic, all Arab government. We've got the terrorists out of there, and they're going to demilitarize. They will, because they have no choice. So we expect that. Pardon me?
And now we want to get Hamas no guns, right?
Right, they're going to give it up. They're going to give up the AK-47s.
There's a good chance we're going to get there. A lot of people said they'll never disarm. Steve, Russia, Ukraine, we've making a lot of progress. Could you explain that?
The Ukrainians actually said that we've made more progress since Geneva than they've seen in the last 4 years of that conflict. So we had 5 Russian generals last Sunday in Abu Dhabi with Jared and Dan Driscoll. And we think we made a lot of progress. The talks will continue in about a week, but lots of good things happening between the counterparties discussing the land deal.
They're talking together.
We have a security protocol agreement that's largely finished, a prosperity agreement that's largely finished, and I think the people of Ukraine are now hopeful and expectant that we're going to deliver a peace deal sometime soon.
And because of the cold, extreme cold, they have the same that we do. I personally asked President Putin not to fire on Kiev and the cities and towns for a week during this. It's extraordinary. It's not cold, it's extraordinary cold, record-setting cold. Over there too, they're having the same. It's a big pile of bad weather, the worst. But it was. It really, they said they've never experienced cold like that. And I personally asked President Putin not to fire into Kiev and the various towns for a week. And he agreed to do that. And I have to tell you, it was very nice. A lot of people said, don't waste the coal, you're not going to get that. And he did it, and we're very happy that they did it.
That's correct.
Because on top of everything else, that's not what they need is missiles coming into their towns and cities. So I just thought I should say it. I thought it was a very good thing, and Ukraine was almost, they didn't believe it, but they were very happy about it because they are struggling badly.
I think it shows, Mr. President, how you provide an overarching sort of presence in these negotiations. The Ukrainians never thought it could happen. The Russians are doing things maybe that people wouldn't give them the credit for doing, and I think it always comes down to your indomitable spirit.
Well, it was a good thing. You know, if you think it's cold over here, they say in Ukraine you can add another 20% to it. It was very cold place anyway, but this was, they see numbers that were so, they'd never seen numbers like that, cold numbers like that. I thought they were powerful, but the battleships that we're building are going to be 100 times more powerful than those beautiful works of art. I mean, they were magnificent, all steel. We have the steel now, and we're going to be doing that as an enhancement, but our military is very, very strong. You may want to say something about the large fleet of ships that's heading over to the Middle East.
Well, Mr. President, you had to, like so many other cabinet members have referenced, rebuild the perception of America. And at the Department of War, that meant reestablishing deterrence. What happened in Afghanistan, what happened in Ukraine, a war that never would have occurred, what happened on October 7th in Israel, never would have happened under President Trump. So as a result, we're having to rebuild how our enemies perceive us. And when President Trump said, we're not getting a nuclear, Iran, you won't have a nuclear bomb, he meant it. And we sent those B-2s halfway around the world, and they never noticed. When he said, we're not going to tolerate trafficking drugs anymore in our hemisphere, we treat them like the Al-Qaeda of the Western Hemisphere, he meant it, and we're executing that. When you said, Mr. President, we're securing the border, the military was proud to do their part alongside Homeland Security to do that. Same thing with Iran right now, ensuring that they have all the options to make a deal. They should not pursue nuclear capabilities. We will be prepared to deliver whatever this president expects of the War Department, just like we did this month. No other military in the world could have executed the most sophisticated, powerful raid, not just in American history, I would say in world history. What those men did going downtown, another country, the most secure place in the most secure base in the middle of the night without anybody knowing until those simultaneous bombs dropped 3 minutes before the helicopters dropped. No other country could coordinate that. No other president would have been willing to empower those warriors that way, to be that effective. And that sends a message to every capital around the world that when President Trump speaks, he means business, and we are reestablishing deterrence at the War Department, Mr. President.
Thank you. Great job you're doing. Just to finish up on that, the Somalian pirates over the years have pirated, stolen many ships. They would get large amounts of money for the ship. You know, you have $1 billion ship, and the insurance companies didn't want to fight because, you know, some of those ships are very flammable. They're carrying millions of barrels of oil. Very flammable, very dangerous situation if they're shot at. So they wouldn't fight. We notified them a number of months ago. Anybody that does that gets the same treatment as a drug dealer sending their drugs in from Venezuela or anybody else. As you know, it's 97% down by water. So the drugs coming in by sea or by water is down 97%. Now we're also starting, that was the more difficult route. Now we're starting to do that by land also. It will be, you'll see that happen as they come in and kill our people with drugs. I think the real number is 300,000 people a year, not 100, but whatever it is, it's a lot of people, hundreds of thousands of people. They're going to get hit. But also we added to the list the Somalian pirates that go out on a boat, similar type boat, actually not quite as fast, not quite as nice as you can imagine, but they get the same missile that we give to the people that are bringing drugs. And so far we haven't seen anybody going out. So the traffic is not being interfered with by people pirating our ships. Not our ships, ships all over the world. I said, make it for any country. We're doing the rest of the world a favor. It's a very effective favor, but we see very little pirating nowadays. You used to have ships being taken every single, like 2 or 3 a week, these massive ships that be brought in to some place in Somalia, which I don't even know is it a country. We have Ilhan Omar left, and then she gives us lectures on the Constitution of the United States. These people are, what they've done to rip off our country is terrible, but the pirating has essentially stop. They know that if anybody even makes a move toward a ship, they get the ultimate treatment. They will go to wherever they want to go, but it's probably not going to be to heaven. I can't imagine, but they get hit very hard, just like a drug dealer, just like the boats, the ships that are coming in. Every boat that comes in with drugs on it that we take out, we just saved 25,000 American lives. Each boat is the equivalent of saving 25,000 American, mostly American, but American lives. So I just wanted to let you know that, and Pete's been totally authorized to do that. And they know it's going to happen, and it seems that all of that brisk business that they had has been stopped in its right in its foot. So I just want to thank everybody for being here. My cabinet has been amazing. I like this much better than going around for 3 hours. We'll pick on other ones. Pam, you're doing great. We're all doing great. JD, if you'd like to say something, you can. Would you like to really quickly? He is, after all, the Vice President of the United States.
It's okay, sir. I'm here for the free coffee. I just say it's an honor to serve with this group, and we're doing a lot of good for the American people. We're very proud of it.
Yeah, we're very proud of the country. We're very proud of you. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. President, one question.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's go. Start moving. Thank you, press. Keep moving. Thank you. Go, guys.